Hello again. We're in Psalm 76. And Yehuda Elohim is known. His name is great in Israel. And his booth is in Shillim, his dwelling place in Zion. There he broke the arrows of the bow, the shield and the sword, and the battle axe of Salah. You are resplendent, more excellent than mountains of prey. The stout-hearted have been stripped. They kept their sleep, and none of the mighty men have found their hands. At your rebuke, O Elohim of Jacob, both the rider and the horse lay stunned. You are to be feared. And who would stand in your presence when you are displeased? From heaven you shall cause judgment to be heard. The earth shall fear and shall be still. Then Elohim arise to right ruling, to save all the meek of the earth. Salah. For the wrath of mankind praises you. With the remainder of wrath you gird yourself. Make vows to Yahweh your Elohim and pay them. Let all who are around him bring presents. To the one to be feared, he cuts off the spirit of leaders. He is awesome to the sovereigns of the earth. 77. My voice is to Elohim and I cry. My voice is to Elohim and he listened to me. In the day of my distress I sought Yahweh. My hand was stretched out in the night and it did not cease. My being refused to be comforted. I remembered Elohim and groaned. I complained and my spirit grew faint. Salah. You ceased the watches of my eyes. I was too troubled to speak. I have thought about the days of old, the years long past. I remember my song in the night. I meditate with my heart, and my spirit searches diligently. Would Yahweh reject forever and never again be pleased? Has his loving commitment ceased forever? Has the promise failed for all generations? Has El forgotten to show favor? Has he shut up his compassions in displeasure? Salah. And I said, this is my grief, that the right hand of the Most High has changed. I remember the deeds of Yah, for I remember your wonders of old, and I shall meditate on all your work, and talk of your deeds. Your way, O Elohim, is in set apartness. Who is a great El like Elohim? You are the El who does wonders. You have made known your strength among the peoples. By your arm you have redeemed your people. The sons of Jacob and Yosef, Salah. The waters saw you, O Elohim. The waters saw you, they were afraid. The depths also trembled. The clouds poured out water. The heavens rumbled. Also your arrows flashed back and forth. The voice of your thunder rolled along. Lightnings lit up the world. The earth trembled and shook. Your way was in the sea, and your path in the great waters. And your footsteps were not known. You did lead your people like a flock, by the hand of Moshe and Aaron. Hang on. 78. My people, give ear to my Torah. Incline your words to the words of my mouth. I open my mouth in a parable. I utter riddles of old, which we have heard and known, for our fathers have related them to us. We do not hide them from their children, relating to the generation to come the praises of Yahweh, and his strength and his wonders which he has done. For he raised a witness in Jacob, and set a Torah in Israel, which he commanded our fathers to teach them to their children, that it might be known to a generation to come, to children who would be born, to rise up and relate them to their children, and place their trust in Elohim, and not forget the works of El, but watch over his commands, and not be like their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation which did not prepare its heart, whose spirit was not steadfast to El. The children of Ephraim, armed bowmen, turned back in the day of battle. They did not guard the covenant of Elohim, and they refused to walk in his Torah, and they forgot his deeds and his wonders which he had shown them. He did wonders in the sight of their fathers in the land of Mitzrayim, in the field of Zoan. He split the sea and caused them to pass through, and he made the waters stand up like a heap, and led them with the cloud by day, and all the night with a light of fire. He split the rocks in the wilderness and made them drink as from the great depths, and brought forth streams from the rock, and caused waters to come down as rivers. Yet they sinned still more against him, to rebel against the Most High in the desert, and they tried El in their heart by asking food according to their desire. They spoke against Elohim. They said, "Is El able to set a table in the wilderness? Look, he struck the rock so that the waters gushed out, and the streams overflowed. Is he able to give bread also? Would he provide meat for his people?" Before Yahweh heard, and he was wroth, so a fire was kindled against Jacob, and displeasure also came against Israel, because they did not believe in Elohim, neither did they trust in his deliverance. Yet he had commanded the clouds above and opened the doors of the heavens, and he rained down manna on them to eat, and he gave them the grain of the heavens. Men ate bread of the mighty. He sent them provisions to satisfaction. He made an east wind blow in the heavens, and by his power he brought in the south wind, and he rained meat on them like the dust, and winged birds like the sand of the seas, and let them fall in the midst of his camp, all around his dwelling place. So they ate and were completely satisfied, for he brought them what they desired. They were not estranged from their desire. Their food was still in their mouths when the wrath of Elohim came against them. He killed among their fat ones, and he struck down the choice ones of Israel. In spite of all this, they still sinned and did not believe in his wonders. So he ended their days in a breath and their years in trouble. When he killed them, they sought him, and they returned and did earnestly seek El. And they remembered that Elohim was their rock, and the Most High El their Redeemer. But they flattered him with their mouth, and they lied to him with their tongue, for their heart was not steadfast with him, and they were not true to his covenant. But he, the compassionate one, pardoned crookedness, and did not destroy them. And many a time he turned his displeasure away, and did not stir up all his wrath. For he remembered that they were but flesh, a passing breath that does not return. How often they rebelled against him in the wilderness, and grieved him in the desert. And again they tried El, and provoked the set-apart one of Israel. They did not remember his hand, the day when he redeemed them from the adversary, how he worked his signs in Mitzrayim, and his wonders in the field of Zoan. He turned their rivers into blood, and they could not drink their streams. He sent among them swarms of flies which devoured them, and frogs which destroyed them, and gave their crops to the caterpillar, and their labor to the locust. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost, and gave their beasts over to the hail, and their livestock to bolts of fire. He sent on them the burning of his displeasure, wrath and rage and distress, a deputation of messengers of evils. He made a path for his displeasure. He did not spare their being from death, but gave their life over to the plague, and he struck all the firstborn in Mitzrayim, the firstfruits of strength to the tents of Ham. He made his own people go forth like sheep, and led them into the wilderness like a flock. And he led them on safely, and they did not fear. But the sea covered their enemies, and he brought them to the border of his set-apart place, this mountain which his right hand had gained, and drove out nations before them, and allotted them a measured inheritance, and made the tribes of Israel dwell in their tents. Yet they tried and rebelled against the Most High Elohim, and did not guard his witnesses. But they turned back, and acted treacherously like their fathers. They twisted like a treacherous bow, for they enraged him with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their carved images. When Elohim heard this, he was wroth and greatly despised Israel. And he left the dwelling place of Shiloh, the tent which he had set up among men. And he gave his strength into captivity, and his comeliness into the hand of the adversary. And he gave his people over to the sword, and he was wroth with his inheritance. His young men were consumed by fire, and his maidens were not praised. His priests fell by the sword, and their widows could not weep. Then Yahweh awoke as one asleep, as a mighty man who shouts because of wine, and he struck his adversaries backward. He put them to an everlasting reproach. Then he rejected the tent of Joseph, and did not choose the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Yehudah, Mount Zion, which he loved, and he built his set-apart place like the heights. Like the earth he founded it forever, and he chose David, his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds. He brought him in from tending the ewes to shepherd Jacob, his people, and Israel, his inheritance. And he shepherded them according to the integrity of his heart, and led them by the skill of his hands. Deep. 79. O Elohim, the nations have come into your inheritance. They have defiled your set-apart Hakal. They turned Jerusalem into ruins. They have given the dead bodies of your servants as food for the birds of the heavens, the flesh of your loving committed ones to the wild beasts of the earth. They have poured out their blood like water all around Jerusalem, with no one to bury them. We have become a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and a mockery to those who are around us. How long, O Yahweh, would you be enraged forever? Would your jealousy burn like fire? Pour out your wrath on the nations who have not known you, and on reigns that have not called on your name. For they have devoured Jacob and laid waste his pasture. Do not remember against us the crookedness of the fathers. Let your compassion speedily meet us, for we have been greatly weakened. Help us, O Elohim, of our deliverance, for the sake of your esteem of your name, and deliver us, and cover over our sins, for your name's sake. Why should the nations say, where is their Elohim? Let the vengeance of the outpoured blood of your servants be known among the nations before our eyes. Let the groaning of the prisoner come before you. According to the greatness of your arm, preserve those appointed to death, and repay to our neighbors sevenfold their reproach into their bosom, with which they have reproached you, O Yahweh. And we, your people, and the sheep of your pasture, we give thanks to you forever. From generation to generation, we show forth your praise. 80. Give ear, O shepherd of Israel, who leads Joseph like a flock, who dwells between the cherubim. Shine forth before Ephraim, Benjamin, and Manasseh. Stir up your might, and come and save us. Cause us to turn back, O Elohim, and cause your face to shine, that we might be saved. O Yahweh Elohim of hosts, how long shall you be wroth against the prayer of your people? You have caused them to eat the bread of tears, and have caused them to drink with tears a third time. You have made us a strife to our neighbors, and our enemies laughed among themselves. Turn us back, O Elohim of hosts, and cause your face to shine, that we might be saved. Be brought a vine out of Mitzrayim. You brought a vine out of Mitzrayim. You drove out the nations and planted it. You cleared a place for it and caused it to take deep root, and it filled the land. Hills were covered with its shadow, and the mighty cedars with its twigs. She spread her branches to the sea, and her shoots to the river. Why have you broken down her hedges, so that every passer-by plucked her fruit? The boar out of the forest ravages it, and the wild beast of the field devours it. Return, we beg you, O Elohim of hosts. Look down from heaven and see, and visit this vine, and the stalk which your right hand has planted. and the sun whom you made strong yourself. It is burned with fire, it is cut down. They perish at the rebuke of your face. Let your hand be upon the one at your right hand, upon the son of Adam, who you made strong for yourself, and we shall not backslide from you. Revive us and let us call upon your name. Turn us back, O Yahweh Elohim of hosts, and cause your face to shine that we might be saved. Praise Yah. I hope y'all have a blessed day. Shalom.